Hello and welcome. This is Google Drive. I will be focusing entirely on the web interface using the Firefox web browser and not the desktop application. The web interface is accessible through any modern web browser. You can access it via the URL or the navigational links at the top of the browser. Over on the left-hand side, whatever is highlighted in red is what you are currently looking at. So I have My Drive highlighted in red, and that is the contents of My Drive. Notice that if you're viewing something by title, folders will appear alphabetically first, and then files alphabetically below that. I can change the sorting by clicking any of these links here. Last edited by me, last modified, last opened, etc. My Drive, you can view subfolders on the sidebar by clicking the toggle, the little triangle toggle, and use that as a way to navigate around your folder structure. If you go into a subfolder, here's the President's documents. If I open that up, there's a subfolder here. And notice that as I navigate through, there are breadcrumbs at the top. My Drive in President Documents, and now I'm looking at the previous presidents. And I can use this to go into the Moral folder. And I can use this to go back up and down the tree, get back out to My Drive. So My Drive by default are going to be all of my documents and folders. There's another area called Shared with Me, which are documents that have been shared with me. These are whenever someone shares a folder or files, this is where I can find them the first time when they share it with me, with my email address. There's a third way to view your files under this More drop-down. There is All Items, which by definition are all of your items, things you've created, things that have been shared with you, and also a third type of document, those things that have been shared publicly either with the world or with everyone at the University of Minnesota, but not specifically with you. So here's a document that was shared with me from Leota. She just made it publicly accessible to anyone at the University of Minnesota, and I don't see this document in my All Items list. You'll take my word for that. It'll show up in a second. So when I open this document, all I have to do is open a document the first time. Here's the public document. It's named Kiwis, Charlemagne, and Geckos. And when I go back to All Items, there the file is. So if a document is shared publicly, it will not show up in your Google Drive the first time until you view the document. So whenever you receive an email, you should always click it to view that. The Shared with Me doesn't have the navigational sidebar, so if you are traversing a folder structure in Shared with Me, the only way to do that is to click on the folders to go into each one of them. And then you can navigate your way back out and then back out to Shared with Me. If you do want to have quick and easy access to things in My Drive, the simple way to do it is to add it to My Drive. And there's a big distinction between adding something to My Drive and moving something to My Drive. If you're at the top level of Shared with Me and check a box, I'm going to choose this Team Files folder. There's a button that appears on at the top toolbars called Add to My Drive. Notice that when the checkbox is off, that toolbar disappears. Only when something is selected do you have that. If I add this to My Drive, I will have easy access to it over on the left sidebar. So the status says Team Files has been added to My Drive. And now I can see the team files here under My Drive, and I can navigate it that way. It is still in Shared with Me. Shared with Me is highlighted, and it's still there as well. Anything that's at the top level of Shared with Me, you can add to My Drive. That was already in My Drive. If I choose this one, I can add that document to My Drive. You do not want to do this with any sub-item. So if I go into a folder, this TechTrain Groups folder, and then I want to have access to the Archives folder. When I check the box, I do not see the Add to Drive button. If I use the Organize button and try to move it to My Drive by checking the box, I will get an error message. It says, "Are you sure you want to move this folder out of a shared folder?" By default, sharing will inherit from the parent folder. So the sharing is at the top level, the TechTrain Groups folder, and the archives will have the same sharing assigned to it by default. If I move this out of My Drive, all of that sharing will disappear, and only the owner of the folder or document and myself will have access to it. So if you ever see this error message, best thing to do would be to cancel it. Go back to the TechTrain Groups folder and choose to add that to My Drive. And then I can see that TechTrain Groups, and by moving the parent folder, by adding the parent folder to My Drive, then all of the sharing of the sub-items will be retained. Another way to quickly find things is to use the star option. Every single thing in Google Drive can be starred. So if there's a whole bunch of different things I'm working on, here's the president's documents, I need this old budget file, here's a script I'm trying to make work. In Shared With Me, I can star the main projects, this document, and then I can easily find all these things using the starred filter on the left-hand side. If you need to find information about something in Google Drive, whether it's My Drive or Shared With Me, there is a preview button on the top in the toolbar. So this course stuff, when I check the box, I have the preview button, and this will tell me more information about it. This folder is owned by Reese and has been shared with me. There's no description, and it's not organized in any of my folders. If I choose a different thing, here's Team Files and Preview. Here's all the people who have access to it, a description, and it also appears in My Drive, the same thing. One note about the description, this is a global description, so if I add anything to this field, which I might want to do to make it easier to find things using the search, but that description will be visible by everyone. So make sure that it's a team-oriented message that you're putting in the description field. If you are done working with some files or folders, you no longer need quick and easy access to them via the My Drive icon. You can unadd them to My Drive. It's similar to the same way that you added them. So this Team Files, I no longer need access to it. I need to click the Organize button this time. And I need to uncheck the My Drive. Clicking will do nothing. What I need to do is, if I'm on a PC, Control click, or a Mac, Command click, and that will remove the checkbox. When I click on Move, it will tell me that Team Files has been removed from My Drive. It no longer appears in the sidebar, and if I look at Shared With Me, I still can find the folder that way. So again, if you need to remove something, you can do that. Not remove something from My Drive, but unadd it from My Drive. So that's the end of this little short tutorial on Google Drive. Some of the key points that I want to stress again after covering everything is that if you're working with things, folders, or files that are in Shared With Me, make sure you always use the Add to My Drive button. Also take advantage of some of the other features that are available, the stars, the color coding of items, and using the preview button to view more information about the things you're looking at. That's the end of the video. Thank you very much for your attention, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.